I lost my dignity, I lost everything. I felt less, I felt like I was nothing.
There will always be two opposing forces, but we're all trying to achieve the same goal.
We are going to fight for gender equality.
Like, we're at that point where we can't live on hope when it comes to government.
I don't know how I'm going to carry on without you.
This is not the first incident we are experiencing as a result of depression.
We do not own women, nor do we own their bodies, and that we should never seek to dominate them.
We want justice to change everything. Let's hang pancake.
When a woman says, I don't want means I don't want.
We as men have to respect all women.
It's known as the rape capital of the world. An estimated 500,000 sexual offences occur in South Africa each year. However, only a fraction of these incidents are ever reported. But what of the long-term emotional damage that these vile attacks cause? Victims are often so devastated that it leads to tragedy, as in the case of 23-year-old student Khensani Maseko.
Today, I want to thank God for the 23 years He gave us to share. During this time, we shared rich and profound memories, and I will hold these dearly for as long as I live. I don't know how I'm going to carry on without you, but I trust God will make a way.
The passing of Khensani Maseko has put under the spotlight how institutions of higher learning respond to gender-based violence at campuses.
We in the Student Command, this is not the first incident we are experiencing as a result of depression. This year alone, we already lost 2 brave students in Johannesburg because of the same incident of students not being able to cope, and the universities they do not offer sufficient support to support our students. We have made a call as the EFF Students Command that there must be a compulsory module to each and every first entry student in any university that deals with the mental and physique of our students, the mental well-being of our students.
Incidents of gender-based violence have been rising at an alarming rate. This has led to the launch of #TotoShutdown, which recently handed over a memorandum to President Cyril Ramaphosa, highlighting the plight of women.
What happened to fighter Khensani, number one, should not have happened, but we know that South Africa in its entirety is a crime scene. South Africa in its entirety in workplaces, behind the high walls of the elites and capitalists who are living in wealthy suburbs, are crime scenes.
Police Minister Bheki Cele urged women and men to work together to end the scourge of violence against women.
Yeah, I think it's time to listen to them. What do they think we can do to improve the situation of a woman in South Africa? Hearing from them, but also having the opportunity to tell, especially the young men in general, but in particular the young men, how they should behave going forward.
Khensani Maseko was laid to rest at the Nazareth Memorial Cemetery Park in Soweto.
Incidents of gender-based violence are also rife in the workplace. In one case, a sex for job scam at Bheki Mhlangeni District Hospital in Soweto causes public outrage. Yet, it seems little to no action is taken.
The DA says some female employees at the hospital have been forced to sleep with senior managers in exchange for jobs. They claim about 100 women have reported cases of sexual assault. However, management has failed to act on allegations.
There's been a lot of unhappiness expressed and allegations made, but the Gauteng Health Department still hasn't told us what action has been taken because there were lots of complaints about sex for jobs, which is absolutely unacceptable, and we're really calling on the Gauteng Health Department, please tell us what you've done, make sure that you fix up the hospital management here and that people get fair access to jobs and that they don't have to sell themselves to make a living.
The party handed over a memorandum of complaints and gave the hospital's management 14 days to respond.
We have requested for 14 days in terms of the follow-up. We have expected that the hospital must come up with what they've done about it, because it's almost, as I indicated, that it's still September 2017, and we are not even sure whether probably some of them who might have ended up being appointed, probably they are still being victimized. Because in most instances, we do know that once now you are being offered sex for jobs and then end up getting the job, the perpetrator will always be on your case and threaten you with a dismissal if you don't enter again. So that's why we want to make sure that those women also have received counseling. They also have been able to report those cases to the police.
They have also called on men to take an active role to protect women.
We as men should stand up and fight for the rights of our women. Because, as Noma French has indicated, we are raised as men by women, but the minute we become sexually active, women we then see as sex objects. And it is definitely something that we as men have to face and eradicate in society. It is not only up to women to have to stand up and fight for the rights. We as men have to respect all women.
The Women's Network says it has noted with concern the perpetual abuse of women's rights across the country. They say they will continue to highlight the plight of women until appropriate action is taken against the alleged perpetrators.
National Women's Day is celebrated annually in South Africa on August the 9th. It commemorates the 1956 march when thousands of women protested against past laws. The day also serves to highlight the women abuse that's tearing apart the fabric of society.
Ke bua ka mosadi yo tswedileng ke badimo, mosadi yo tswadileng ke modimo, mosadi yo a ileng botlhaleng bo tlhokapotso ga ise maswi a tekana botshelo. Ba re bontle ba gago bo tshwantshana le baphi koko yena moradi wa serwalo sa koko.
On the 9th of August, 62 years ago, about 20,000 women from all races took a stand and marched to the union buildings in Pretoria to protest against past laws. Gauteng Premier David Makhura remembered the actions of these heroines as he commemorated the day.
Not going to achieve women's liberation by just having good laws. We have to work hard. And we also have to be challenged, and I want to say even me, even we men in positions of authority, we must be challenged. We can sometimes be too comfortable.
Gauteng Health MEC Gwen Ramokgopa urged South Africans to fight patriarchy.
We have made great progress. Women are leadership in the economy. They have education. They are in sectors that used to be male-dominated. But we also know that there's still gender-based discrimination. There's abuse, there's violence, and there's a risk of even regressing on some of what we've achieved. So we are here to recommit that women have a role and to say it is all our responsibility.
Marchers also expressed views on challenges facing women.
My problem is that there's a lot of rape going on and abuse, and none of the people or none of the government people are taking a stand. They are promoting things that we as women are against.
We want justice to change everything. Let's hang Pancake, because there's no way. Even myself, my younger sister is one part of the victim who was there to the boyfriend kill him. Rasuche.
The Department of Justice estimates that 1 out of every 4 South African women are survivors of domestic violence. The Soprano Bikers Club urges survivors to speak out against abuse.
A rape survivor has told of how the terrible ordeal made her stronger. She had to seek refuge at a Johannesburg shelter after the incident.
I was involved in physical abuse, sexual abuse, and also involved in, I was abused by my fiancé. I was raped when I was 10 by a family friend. I was also raped when I was, it was like last year. Yeah, no, last year I was raped by 3 men. So they raped me, and then after that they put bottles inside of my thing. So I lost my dignity, I lost everything. I felt less, I felt like I was nothing. So I lost my job, I lost focus in everything. I lost my job, and I lost everything. So that's where I became pregnant. Yeah, so my son is now 7 months old.
Lerato joined the Soprano Bikers Club campaign to raise awareness on women abuse.
We're saying bikers are riding to the occasion of eradicating the negativity amongst the biking fraternity and even the community. We're saying we care, and we would like to show it by wearing our ties and suits to make sure that we convey the message that we have love for women and we have that warmth for them, and we want to show the respect to them.
Another rape survivor encourages women to speak out about their ordeal. She had tried to take her own life twice after being abused.
Our boys decided, you know what, we are not trash. We don't like this hashtag men are trash, and we are going to do what we can to try and eradicate that, to show the ladies out there that we care, we love you. I mean, they are husbands, they are fathers, they are sons, I mean, they've got moms, aunts, sisters and all of that. So they care about those people, they love those people, and they do not take kindly to them all being labeled as trash, so hence this initiative. So we decided to take boys, start them at an early age, because the man that rapes or beats up a woman started as a young boy. So start them at a young age, show them what you can do, be good men. There are other hobbies, you can ride, you can do other things than crime and all these funny, not so pleasant things.
The Soprano Bikers Club takes an active role in community development projects. It has raised thousands of rands for charities, while also donating food parcels to disadvantaged families and homes.
Speakers at a Women's Day gala dinner lament the ongoing violence against women. They say the mountain of challenges facing them makes it very hard to celebrate the day.
Fresh from a Women's Day event in Paarl, the Department of Women hosted a gala dinner. ANC Women's League members gathered to reflect on the 1956 Defiance campaign, when 20,000 women marched to the union buildings protesting against past law. Speakers lamented the abuse of women and children, saying that the scourge is a hindrance to women's freedom.
We understand the struggle. We know where you are from, and we know the road that is still there to be walked in, and we are ready to walk that road. We are going to confront patriarchy. We are going to fight for women emancipation. We are going to fight for gender equality, and we are going to do so using the theory that you taught us. We are going to do so using your experiences. We are going to do so reminding the people the hard roads you have traveled in, that you are not just ordinary women, you are soldiers. You are the pillars on which this country was built on.
Government believes that land reform programs must make sure that women are treated equally and are empowered.
There was a story coming up about don't evict farm dwellers. Stop farm dwellers evictions now. Some have lived there for more than 50 years, 60 years, 100 years. They don't have a place called home. That's where they live. I am a product of forced land forced removals from Makhuba Sloop. I know how it is to be loaded on a truck on Christmas Day. That was in 1966. But I am not here to tell my story.
The ANC Women's League wants tough action taken against abusers.
There is a lot that has changed. There is a lot that has to be addressed, but we must be able to aim properly what we want as women. And we can't be all over, because if you are all over, you lose everything.
Earlier in the day, President Cyril Ramaphosa had urged men to change the way they treat women. He reiterated government's commitment to host a gender summit at the end of this month. The meeting was one of the requirements contained in the Total Shutdown March's petition earlier this month.
Meanwhile, the presidency hopes that an upcoming gender summit would help address the ongoing litany of abuse.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has called for scourge of gender-based violence to come to an end. He was delivering a keynote address at the National Women's Day celebrations in Paarl.
Discrimination, exploitation, and violence are still present in our society, which, despite the progress that we have made, has not yet fully emerged from our racist and patriarchal past.
The president says women in this country are still oppressed by cultural practices. He says patriarchy remains a defining feature of our society.
Many South African women are still burdened by poverty and oppressed by cultural practices, social convention and prejudice.
Minister in the presidency, Bathabile Dlamini, echoed his sentiments.
When a woman says, I don't want means I don't want. I don't love you anymore means I don't love you anymore.
Anti-apartheid activist Sophie de Bruyn said gender-based violence has no place in this country.
Violence has put paid to many women's dreams and aspirations. The spectre of femicide must have no place in South Africa.
Meanwhile, Ramaphosa has saluted women who fought for liberation.
It is on this day that we remember leaders like Umamu Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Lillian Ngoyi, Helen Joseph, Rahima Musa, Sophie de Bruyn, Dora Tamana, Betha Gowa, Florence Matumela, Ruth First, Dorothy Sihlangu, Ray Alexandra, Liz Abrams, Dorothy Nyembe.
The Women's Day commemorations coincided with the centenary celebrations of late struggle icon Nontsikelelo Albertina Sisulu. She was one of the organizers of the 1956 anti-pass march.
Also on Women's Day, President Cyril Ramaphosa unveils an anti-abuse campaign with a difference.
President Cyril Ramaphosa unveiled a nationwide gender-based violence campaign with a difference. The campaign uses the image of a robot to convey the message that abusers must stop. The president was addressing a National Women's Day event in Paarl, Western Cape.
Everybody knows what a robot stands for. Green means no violence, healthy relationship. There is mutual respect for self and choices you make. No one controls the other. There is honesty and respect. There is support and affirmation. There is acceptance. There is empathy and kindness. There is thoughtful and forgivingness.
President Ramaphosa says it's time to have conversations with men about gender-based violence.
We men must get it into our heads that we do not own women, nor do we own their bodies, and that we should never seek to dominate them.
This year's Women's Day was dedicated to 100 years of Mama Albertina Sisulu.
Mama Albertina Sisulu, as a grandmother, but really as a woman, as a leader, as a human being. She was a humanitarian at heart. She cared about all human beings. With apartheid fully effective in South Africa during her time, she cared about blacks, she cared about whites, Indians and colors alike. Her qualities that we draw from her, or that we can draw, the choice is ours. She's lived her life.
Meanwhile, the Western Cape government says the Women's Day was about unity regardless of political party, race or creed.
First and foremost, they were united. They were not fighting amongst themselves. The second thing is that they wanted to liberate all South Africans. And thirdly, the struggle was not about themselves only as the leadership of different formations.
President Cyril Ramaphosa commended efforts by the Total Shutdown Women's Movement. He said discussions about the scourge of gender-based violence would continue at the Gender Summit to take place in August 30th.
Role players and the public at large are saying enough is enough. Organizers of a fundraising event even remove former Deputy Minister Mduduzi Manana from the panel. Manana was convicted for assault after attacking 3 women in a Sandton eatery.
Kulumando Day, it's all for engagement. I believe in conversations going forward to find resolves to whatever challenges that society is facing. I also want to advance the fact that gender-based violence, it's not a gender-sensitive issue, it is a societal issue. It affects, yes, individuals, but it affects families, it affects communities, it affects the whole country. So it is important for us to begin to conversate on these issues of gender-based violence. So I don't understand the call that was made that he should not be on that panel, but after talking to Mdu, he assured me that he's pulling out of that panel discussion, that the decision to have him as part of the panel was taken without his consent.
You know, when it comes to the Mduduzi Manana issue and government, I feel like we're at that point where we can't live on hope when it comes to government. And we need to be in the forefront of making decisions on, as to how government should deal with Mduduzi Manana. I think that the sentiment has already been agreed that Mduduzi Manana didn't resign voluntarily. He was pressured socially. And by virtue of that happening means to say that he still did not recognize that he is in the wrong. He was pressured, and without the pressure, I don't feel that government would have been decisive in removing him.
Experts warn that men can never be justified in violence towards women. They also say in no way should an abuse victim ever blame herself. Instead, women must come forward, just like the brave heroes did at the Union Buildings in 1956.
I think it's important to understand that while we're seeing different forms of gender-based violence, rape being predominant amongst them, on the rise, we're noting a rise of 53% in terms of the last year, and even with murder rates going up 117%. As much as these are on the rise, we're also seeing preventative efforts and treatment efforts being upscaled throughout South Africa, and I think that's a positive message to uphold, is that while we're seeing an increase in these sorts of offences, we're also seeing an increase in attempts to actually curb them and create a safer, better society for all of us at the same time.
We help rape and abuse victims get better. I'm a survivor myself. I was very severely abused, so I know the emotions that people feel. Obviously, you can't counsel from that point of view, but you can have a heartfelt understanding of the situation. So what we do is we receive about 40,000 calls per annum, and we direct these people to the places where they can get the best counseling in their areas.
As the saying goes, for evil to flourish, it only requires that good men do nothing. Clearly, it's time for everyone to speak up and take action and stop the abuses once and for all.
I struggle with that hashtag, but I understand the pain and the frustration that drives that. You see, we also have to come to a place where when we don't agree on things, we must respect each other's position. Like, I understand where people come at, but because of what I understand about the power of words, I don't embrace it from that point of view. But I never say people shouldn't say that. It's how they feel, and I acknowledge that. But we also need to realize that there will always be two opposing forces, but we're all trying to achieve the same goal. But the more, as you were saying, we need more voices of men, of those good men, to be accountable, to hold other men accountable. Like, I can't hold men accountable because I'm not a man. It's not my lived experience. I can only speak from what I see and what the banging between me and them represents, because I want them to hear where I'm coming from. But I want to be in a space where I can say, I want to hear what they have to say and how we can collectively navigate this situation.